Teddy Bridgewater, of course, you saw him up close in Minnesota while you were there. How different is he, and how has he grown since you last had a chance to work with him on a day-by-day basis?
I think he's more, he's more experienced. He's been in a couple different situations since the time we were together. One where he was a backup, one where he was a starter. I see when he's out there executing, he's been able to pick things up very quickly. There's a lot of similarities to some of the things that we did, and then some of the new stuff he picks up quickly. He's a quick decision maker. He determines quickly whether he's got what we're looking for down the field, and he'll check it down. And this has been a really important time for him, really for all of us. We've got almost a half season worth of reps in the last few days, or really through the OTAs and the mini camp, and all that work has been really, really good for him. But no, he's just probably a more experienced player than when I was with him. And unfortunately, when I was with him, he got hurt early on in our time in Minnesota.
We have plenty of questions for Coach Shurmur. So as a reminder to your fellow journalists, or as a consideration to them, please be cognizant of your follow-up questions. Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, Pat. What kind of strides did you see Drew Lock make this offseason? And what was intriguing about Javonte Williams' college tape?
Well, Drew obviously has made great progress from a year ago. Last year he kind of went into the season raw without having really an off season. And he worked his way through it, and he did a lot of good things last year. And I think he kind of built on the good things he did a year ago. With regard to Javonte, obviously he's an explosive runner. He did a really nice job in the passing game with regard to protection. He displayed an ability to catch the ball, which all things that we've seen in the training. And, we've also seen, you never really know how a guy learns until you work with him. But having worked with him now, he's a quick learner. He's got great instincts with regard to football, and it shows up on the field.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Hey, Pat, with your tight ends, what are you hoping for from Noah Fant, to see more growth from him this year? And then Alberto, I know he's still working his way back to 100%, but what are your hopes for him in year two?
Well, they're all young players, and I think you could ask me about anybody almost on offense, what we're looking for in their second or third year. But just, to be more consistent, be more, more explosive, just keep doing all the things you do better. Have more good plays, less bad. And I think these off-season training sessions, the OTAs, the minicamp to this point have been very beneficial because they can take what we did last year, plus the things that parts of the offenses that we've grown and, just improve on it. And it's been really good. I can't say how meaningful this has been, just working on the fundamentals, the techniques, getting in and out of the huddle, the cadence, executing audibles, throwing and catching, running backs running their paths, all the things that, you need to practice. It's a coordinated effort when you play football. There's 11 guys out there. And so for us to be able to practice those things have been great.
Let's go, Eric, and then Mike. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, Pat. What have you liked from Jerry Jeudy this offseason? And then how do you think having Courtland back can help him this year?
Yeah, well, I think Jerry has really done an outstanding job in practice. Again, I don't have anything to base on offseason to offseason because we didn't have it last year, but he's really, I think, taken what we saw last year in practice and in games and really worked on it. And, it's a good challenge every day running against the secondary that we have, that we put on the field. And Jerry's been out there being very competitive. He's made his plays, and I can see growth every day.
And then with Courtland back on the field, how do you think that helps your receiving core?
Yeah, sorry about that. Obviously having Courtland back, we missed him last year, not having him. And so certainly having him back is going to be huge. He was a huge piece of the offense 2 years ago. Not having him last year, certainly we missed him, and we're all thrilled to have him back.
Mike Bliss, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, could you give us a quick evaluation on the quarterback competition between Drew and Teddy?
Well, I think they're both getting better. I think, obviously they've both gotten work with the ones. They both had a chance to really kind of share their workload with regard to the reps. Seen improvement in Drew from decision-making, his timing, his accuracy, and then getting a feel again for Teddy. You can see the things he does well. And for Teddy, it's more getting up to speed with what we've done. And then, he's right on board with the new things that we're doing. So it's been good. And, I'm sure Coach Fangio has probably talked about where this is, competition-wise. But we got a lot of work left before we play the opener. And I think we built a really good foundation, not only for the quarterbacks, but for the team going into training camp. So we'll be ready to go.
Any particular challenges for you as offensive coordinator, since they do seem to be two different styles of quarterback?
They are and they aren't. I think when folks watch them, play or practice, you say this guy can do this guy can do that. But they both, when they're on top of their game, can execute at a high level. Lead our offense, get completions, get the ball in the end zone. And so they just got to continue to do that within their own skill set to the best of their ability.
Let's go, Nick Kosmider, followed by Mark Kistler. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, Pat, when you're having a quarterback competition in fall camp, what's the biggest challenge in terms of, creating packages where each guy is going to, I guess, get to do enough of the offense in camp?
Yeah, well, it's I guess, phrased the quarterback competition, but, all the groups compete. And they're all out there trying to do the very best with the reps that they get. And in terms of the package of plays, I think, they're a little bit different in style, but they both can execute, in the way that we need them to. So, and then the package deal with regard to that, it depends who the starter is on what you kind of tweak the offense toward.
Please lower your hand if you no longer have a question. We've got time for a couple more. Go ahead, Mark Kistler.
You mentioned the quarterback competition, which
I just answered the question.
which obviously the media, we like that. How is the quarterback competition beneficial to your offense and your team?
Well, I think it gets the best out of everyone. It's just like any position group that competes, running backs, receivers. We always compete. On offense in practice, we compete against the defense. So it's the competitive nature of the game. And when guys are competing and they're on their toes and they feel the urgency to perform at a high level, then they perform at a high level more frequently. And that's what you're looking for. So that's how it benefits things. And I think the reason we all play this game and the reason we coach this game and the reason we're involved in this game is we understand and we embrace the competitive nature of this game. And so we're just zeroing in on one position.
Let's go final two. We'll go Troy and then Arnie. Go ahead, Troy.
Coach, good to see you. We live in a sports world of analytics where it almost becomes sterile in how they evaluate. When you evaluate the quarterback position, is it stats? You grade practice? Is there part of it just trust my eyes? How do you evaluate when you have a quarterback competition? What goes into that?
Well, there's the hard data. You want to get more completions and you want less interceptions. You want throw touchdown passes. I mean, all the hard data. But when we look at it, I'm kind of looking at it generally too, when this guy's in there, are less bad things happening? When he makes a mistake, is it catastrophic or is it something that we can correct? And it's all the things that you look at. And that's why it's important that you practice. Because again, it's, as I mentioned earlier, it's a coordinated effort that really goes through the eyes of the quarterback, and a lot of times how he executes can help the rest of the team play better. And so, there's obviously the objective and then the subjective stuff that we look at.
Go ahead, Arnie. Finish us off.
Hey, Pat, I got a non-quarterback question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Hey, one of your new linemen took an unorthodox path to the NFL, Quinn Meinerz. I'm wondering, what is your early impressions of him?
Yeah, Quinn. Well, we have two Quinns. I think he goes by Q behind the scenes. I don't know how unorthodox it is. He came from a small college setting. it was kind of a crazy year with COVID, but he's a football player. And what's been good about what we've seen so far is he's got really good football instincts, which regardless of what level of ball you play at, it just sort of shows up. Guys kind of get it and figure it out. We put him in there at center, which can be very difficult to play if you don't, have, I guess, a 10,000-foot view of things, which is good. He's gotten better playing in there. And so, he's got a good way about him. He takes things very seriously, but he's willing to kind of embrace the fun that goes along with the grind. And so, you never really know with a lineman until you put pads on and you put him in there working with the other 4 guys and in game settings. But I'd have to say at this point, he's got a bright future.
Great. Thank you.
Coach Shurmur, thanks so much for the time. We truly appreciate it. We've got Coach Donatel coming up next.